You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. And another yes, it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Tuesday, April the 7th. of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there. Radio Big. Oh, yes, hanging out with the friends at Radio Big, because that's kind of what we do, and all the weird stuff inside of there. Anyways, how have you been? How has the last 24 hours or so been for you, as we are haven't been hanging out? Because, you know, we did the thing in the morning, and then I kind of vanished for a few hours, and then we come back. That's kind of how it goes. So, are you good for today? How has the multiverse been treating you? Maybe that's the way we need to talk about this. So if you're good, I will explain to you how we do this. We talk about safety in the news and safety. Safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of how we do the go around, if you may put it in that fashion. So with that being said, we cover a little bit of this, we cover a little bit of that, and then we bring in some professional broadcasters that will tell you exactly what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse. And you don't have to just listen to me. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. So that's kind of the layout of the land. If you want to interact with the show, it's very simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging is the name of the game. Because once you get into that multiverse of stuff, man, does it become a cluster. So just think about that. So audio, video, and text messaging are the options. I get a little prompt on the screen, then I know what to do in regards to the movement of the show. That's just kind of how the whole thing goes. And if you're good with it, I will go out there and, talk about all the weird stuff that happens on this show. So let me explain some of the things that happens. We have some people that are helping around here. They give me some of the news stories, all that kind of fun stuff. But if we don't get to unload all the news stories from today, this is why we pack up Friday with such random shit, because that's really what it is. That's why we call it Freeform Friday. But just remember, we're still just on Tuesday, so we're not freeforming anything yet. So with that being said, I do have my friends from Feature Story News ready to go. They're kind of sitting in the wings going, let's get this started. Let's get this baby started. So if you're good, we'll get it started right now with some news stories.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Simon Gaitan. A deadline is approaching for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or face complete demolition of Iranian infrastructure. US President Donald Trump is threatening to take Iran to the Stone Ages unless Tehran complies by 8 p.m. North American Eastern Time on Tuesday. Iran's state media says the country is rejecting the latest US ceasefire proposal. Dr. Laura James is Middle East analyst at Oxford Analytica from Dow Jones. She says Donald Trump could yet back down.
He's obviously pulled back on deadlines before because they don't lead somewhere good. The idea at the moment, I think, is to try and maximize the pressure to try and get some sort of exit strategy with a ceasefire deal. But the problem is that strategy hasn't worked on Iran yet. And it's hard to see how it can work now, given that what the United States essentially is demanding is that Iran give up all of its security guarantees in return for very dubious benefits.
Global oil prices have continued to rise ahead of the deadline, with the shipping of oil and gas severely disrupted by the threat of attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. Laura Westbrook reports.
Markets are watching and waiting. A lot of uncertainty remains right now as investors and traders wait to see what will happen as they look ahead to this latest deadline by US President Donald Trump. Oil prices continue to be elevated. Crude oil rising to around $111 a barrel earlier. Investors are looking ahead. They're waiting to see what will happen. A lot of uncertainty. And as the oil prices continue to be elevated, we're continuing to feel the impact, particularly in the Asia Pacific region, which relies so heavily on oil from the Middle East.
Artemis 2 astronauts are returning to Earth after travelling further into space than any humans have before as part of a 7-hour flyby of the moon. They also witnessed a total solar eclipse from their spacecraft and lost communication with NASA control for about 40 minutes during that historic lunar flyby. India has moved a step closer to its goal of generating 100 gigawatts of nuclear power by 2047 after an indigenous-built reactor attained criticality. It's the point at which a nuclear chain reaction becomes self-sustaining. Ishan Garg tells us more from New Delhi.
India's prototype fast breeder reactor achieving criticality marks the country's formal entry into the second stage of its three-stage nuclear power program. The 500-megawatt reactor, which is indigenously built in India, is producing more fuel than it consumes and relies on plutonium as fuel instead of uranium, which is used in conventional reactors. Analysts say it will eventually lead to India harnessing its vast thorium reserves, which are the largest in the world.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, the Iranians still hoping regime change might be possible in their country, even though President Trump sometimes claims it has already taken place, and at other times indicates that it is not one of his military objectives in Iran. I put it to Khosrow Isfahani of the National Union for Democracy in Iran that it must be a confusing time.
President Trump is the president of the United States. He is not responsible for the Iranians' liberation. We have been fighting that fight for the past 5 decades. We have bled on those streets. We have buried loved ones. We have been jailed, arrested, tortured, raped. The job of changing Iran is the job of the Iranian people. Over the past 5 decades, literally every world leader has sat on the sidelines, watched us being massacred. Finally, the United States and Israel have delivered on the promise that the president had given. Help has arrived.
Help may have arrived, but not necessarily a determination on the part of the US to bring about democratic change. At the start of the conflict 6 weeks ago, the US president urged Iranian people to rise up and grasp what he portrayed as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take power into their hands. But he has not amplified that message at all, and instead has started talking about establishing a joint venture to govern Iran with remnants of the regime. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, US President Donald Trump's deadline is approaching for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's state media says the country is rejecting the latest US ceasefire proposal. Global oil prices continue to rise ahead of the deadline, with oil and gas shipping severely disrupted by the threat of attack. And Artemis 2 astronauts are returning to Earth after travelling further into space than any humans have before as part of a 7-hour flyby of the moon. That's the latest feature story news. Simon Gaitan reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, self-implosion and airwaves always seems to be a good combination for this guy. So let's go ahead and start talking right away about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. So if you're good with this, I think I'm good with this. So let's go ahead and get started right away about some stuff that is going on inside of here. So where do we want to start? Let's go ahead and start with this one. Because yesterday, if you do not know this, Savannah Guntry returned to the Today Show. Savannah Guntry returned to the Today Show, the anchor desk yesterday, making it the first full day back after 2 months away following the disappearance of her mother. Nancy, on February the 1st, sitting alongside Craig Melvin, Savannah opened to the show, noting that the sunrise and saying that it felt good to be home, with Melvin warmly welcoming her back. Throughout the morning, she expressed gratitude for the support that she has received, telling viewers that she's been really feeling the love. Take a listen.
Pretty shot of the sun coming up. Good morning. Welcome to Today on this Monday morning. We are so glad you started your week with us, and it is good to be home.
Yes, it is good to have you back at home.
Well, here we go. Ready or not. Yeah. Let's do the news.
Yes, so good to have you back. All right.
Okay, so it starts off like that in regards of what's going on. So it was good to see that she was actually back inside of there, but it was interesting too, because you never knew what was exactly going to happen. So there you go. That was kind of the weird thing going on throughout the whole thing. So that happened yesterday. Also, in some other news occurring throughout the multiverse, because yesterday was a multiverse filled kind of day. So take a listen to this. The Artemis 2 crew, Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen officially became the farthest humans to ever travel from Earth, reaching 252,757 miles away, surpassing the Apollo 13's 1970 record. Just before the moment, Wiseman sent a silent message to his daughters by forming a heart with his hands, and then honored the past explorers over the radio, challenged the future generation to push further. And the crew also named 2 newly spotted lunar craters, Integrity after their Orion capsule, and Carol, in tribute to Wiseman's late wife, a moment that left the astronauts in tears. Take a listen to this.
Yeah, from the cabin of of integrity here as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth. We do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we, most importantly, choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived.
So there you go. Break my record is essentially what they said. So what a cool thing right there in regards of being able to do that. So there you go. Take a listen to this. Also, the Crew 2 passed behind the far side of the moon, marking the start of a planned unavoidable blackout. The clip features the message that astronaut Victor delivered to the communication blackout. Take a listen to this.
As we prepare to go out of radio communication, we're still to feel your love from Earth, and to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
So just so you know, the choppiness that you're hearing, it's not the way that it's actually playing. Or better saying, it is the way that it's actually playing. It's because of them going to the dark side of the moon, essentially. It was just cutting out the communication. So very interesting times to be talking about. So there you go. There you go. So there you go. Okay, so take a listen to this, because this was kind of making the roundios yesterday. Do we want to go video on this one?
I'm 61.
Well, let's not go that video with that one. Let's not talk about them being 61 and doing Tai Chi. Let's see. Now that video is way too long. Way too long. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. We don't got that kind of time. We got time for some stuff, but that's not the kind of time that we do. Let's talk about this. Let's just talk about it. We won't do the video aspect real quick. There was a long-standing rule in the world of entertainment: never work with children or animals. And one Today Show presenter learned the latter the hard way on Friday when a live cross descended into chaos when a giant crab turned on her. Reporter Taylor Haynes was taking viewers through the tour of the Sydney fish market, and Glebe when she stopped at the tank and filled with live little let's say fisherishies there. The new delight, a worker named Mike, emerged, and the giant crab that placed in her arms and prompted her to bend down and place a kiss on its head. Unfortunately, things quickly went Peer sharp when the crab retaliated by grabbing her finger with its huge pincher. Taylor recoiled in pain, almost dropping the crab in the process. You got my finger, and he's got my finger. Oh, God, she screamed, sending today's host into hysterics. Taylor was still struggling to remove it from her finger, and the crab grasped, and the segment awkwardly ended. Co-host Allison later revealed that Taylor was recovering well after the unfortunate encounter. Taylor made another appearance on the program with her hand submerged into a cup of cold water. Mike said that they needed to use metal rods to pry the crab's claw from her hand. So take a listen to this.
Ali and Atco. Oh my goodness! You didn't tell me it was a big crab. Oh my goodness! Let me go. Let me help. You want to hold it?
Look at the size of that.
Don't get too close.
It's alive, right?
It's alive.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my god! That is.
Look like it just weed all over it.
Oh my goodness! It's like suffocating my hand right now.
Hey Taylor, can you give it a kiss?
Huge! Wow, we're not mucking around.
Can you give it a kiss? Oh, don't go to the front.
Oh, give me a kiss. Oh, it's got my finger.
Oh no!
It's got my finger. It's got my finger.
Oh no!
It's actually got my finger.
Oh no!
Guys, we'll go back to you. Guys,
Right,
got my
Tay.
finger.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, Tay. Yeah.
Mike.
Let's
Oh my God! Well,
leave them to rectify that
Yes.
situation.
Yeah, I think they need to rectify the situation. Now, here's the funny part, or interesting part. I shouldn't say funny because it's probably not funny. So if the people at the news desk tells the reporter in the field that they need to do this, and all of a sudden, this gets clamped on, who's responsible for allowing this to occur? You know that's going to become a question later on. It just always does. It's just the way that things go. So let's continue talking about some other stuff because that's kind of what we do around here. I mean, don't you think that's what we do around here? Okay, so take a listen to this. President Trump revealed new details about a dramatic rescue of a downed U.S. airman who survived nearly 48 hours behind enemy's lines in Iran. Trump described the massive all-out military operation involving 155 aircraft, special operation forces, and a destruction of U.S. equipment left on the ground to prevent capture. The weapon system officers evaded Iranian forces, treated his own wounds, and used a locator beacon to ultimately that led to the rescue on Easter Sunday. Trump praised the mission as breathtaking display of the U.S. precision and force. And the briefing, Trump also blasted the media leaks, threatened consequences to reporters involved, and warned that the U.S. would take out the entire country in one night if it doesn't reach a deal or reopen the strait. So there you go. What do you think? No, seriously, what do you think? I mean, we are only 23 minutes into this show, and we've already had to go back to this stuff and talk about it several times. I mean, we had Feature Story News talk about this. We're talking about it. What did they say? 8 p.m. Eastern time is when decisions need to be made. So we'll see what happens there. That's for sure. Okay, so let's continue talking Tiger Woods' latest DUI arrest in Florida, where police say that he was impaired when his SUV hit a trailer and then flipped. Has sparked reaction across the golf world, including from fellow pro Jason Day. Police found 2 painkiller pills in Woods' pocket, and then he was arrested after refusing a urine test. He has pleaded not guilty and was granted permission to leave the U.S. for rehab in Switzerland. Speaking from Augusta ahead of the Masters, Day was careful but honest. He said that he still admires Woods deeply, calling him a hero, but added that driving impaired was a little bit selfish because it put others at risk. Day said that Woods' strong-willed nature may have contributed to him thinking that he could handle anything, even when he shouldn't or couldn't. Day also acknowledged that how difficult it must be for Woods to go through personal struggles under such intense public scrutiny. He said that he hopes that Woods gets the help that he needs to go out there and become stronger. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there, as we are always talking about some stuff. So I don't know. You know, when people are struggling and you put a spotlight on it, it becomes interesting. I've always have read this whole little thing, and I don't know how true it is, of course. The thing that money does and popularity does is that it only magnifies the things you already have issues with. So you have to maybe look at it from that direction.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this one. The Supreme Court has opened the door for Trump administration to wipe out Steve Bannon's 2022 contempt of Congress conviction. Bannon was originally convicted for refusing to comply with subpoenas from the House of Committee investigating the January 6th attack. He served 4 months in prison, paid $6,500 in fine, and was released in October of 2024. But he has continued fighting to overturn the conviction entirely. This week, the Supreme Court sent the case back to a district judge in Washington, effectively erasing the appeals court ruling that upheld the jury's verdict. Normally, that would set a new trial, but since Trump returned to the office, the Department of Justice has asked to dismiss the case in the interest of justice, which would nullify the conviction altogether. Bannon has argued that he ignored subpoenas because his lawyers advised him that Trump's claim of executive privilege prevented him from cooperating. The subpoena sought documents and testimonies related to the January 6th attacks. So there you go. What do you think there? It's an interesting one. I mean, there's no doubt about it that does not make it interesting when it's all said and done. So there you go. So here's one for you. This one you can go to callinradio.com.
Duh.
Just in case if you want to. You know how everyone grows up thinking that their family is totally normal, and then you get married and realize, oh no, we were absolutely unhinged. Maybe you thought that everyone reused the same bath towel for a week, or maybe you thought that it was normal to keep the ketchup in the pantry instead of the fridge, and maybe you thought that the way that you were loading the dishwasher was the universal correct God-approved method until your spouse looked at you like you were committing a crime. It's wild how marriage exposes the little habits and routines, and this is just how life works. Rules never, you never question growing up. So let's talk about this. What is something that you genuinely thought was normal until you got married and realized that, nope, that was just your family doing their thing? So I would love for you to go to callinradio.com. and kind of either drop me a line, drop me a video, drop me an audio message in regards to that. I would love to see what exactly you thought about some of that stuff. And sometimes long-term relationships can give you some of that great info as well. I mean, seriously. So just go ahead and do that. Take a look at that and tell me what you think. Callinradio.com. Would love to know what you thought it was normal until you found out that it really wasn't as normal as you thought. So there you go. So let's start talking right away, because there is some new things to take a look at. So I guess because we're talking about marriage, maybe we should talk about relationships. Relationships experts are warning about a new dating behavior, future faking. When someone talks about the future, we should go to Italy. I can see us moving there together, but never follows through. It creates an emotional whiplash of false intimacy. One woman said that her ex planned an entire imaginary wedding and then ghosted her. So, what do you think about this? Is this kind of a red flag? I don't think this is something new. I had a guy that I used to know a long time ago that he would always tell people that he was interacting with on how they were going to move in together and how they were going to change the world together while he was still married and had kids, or getting his wife pregnant while he was messing around with other people. Yeah. Weird world sometimes that we live in. It seems that way.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. Samsung is officially retiring the Samsung Messaging app by July of 2026, pushing all users over to Google Messages. The company shared the news in the end of service notice released on March the 30th, encouraging users to switch to the smoother transition. Samsung says that the move brings several upgrades, including an AI-powered spam and scam protection, Google Gemini features baked into messaging, better multi-device syncing across phones, tablets, and smartwatches, full RCS support for richer internet-based messaging. Samsung Messages will shut down sometime in July. As of yesterday, Samsung hasn't given a specific date. Why the Samsung is dropping its message app, Samsung didn't explain the reasoning behind it. The change, how to switch to Google Messages, some users will see an app prompt walking them through the change to switch manually. Open and download the Google Messaging app. On the first line, tap on Set Default SMS app. Choose Google Message white icon blue chat bubble and tap Set as Default. Samsung Messages will not be available on the Galaxy S26 or newer devices. Adding to Google Messages to your home screen, Android 12 or 13. If the icon doesn't appear automatically, press on and hold the Samsung Message in the dock and press remove, and then find Google Messages and press hold and add to the home key and drag it into the dock, and there you go. Seriously, I know it does not sound like a fun time to play and all that stuff, but that's what you do. So take a listen to this real quick. A NASA interview with the Artemis 2 crew went viral after viewers noticed the weird flickering letters appearing on a floating plush toy named Rise, the crew's zero-gravity indicator. Conspiracy theorists immediately claimed that distortion proved that the mission was staged, but the viral clip wasn't evidence of fakery. It was evidence of someone recording their TV with a phone. What the video really showed was the crew was doing a live CNN interview from the Orion capsule, and CNN had standard on-screen graphics names, captions, and mission labels when someone filmed the TV screen with their smartphone. The phone captured the video and the graphics in slightly different refresh rates. The mismatch caused fragments of the text like TAN and OW to momentarily appear over what might be a moving object, including a plush toy. The original NASA CNN feed shows the toy floating normally with no flickering letters. This is a common artifact called chroma key, an overlay interference on what not digital manipulation. So what do you think here? Because now everybody's going to say that everything's fake. Everything's fake when it's all said and done. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk real quick, because I think that's what we do during the most part of our main story. But let's talk about the ghosts in the industry. There's a lot of old school safety history out there. And when you walk the floors of these massive aging rust belt facilities, when you smell the ozone and you hear the hum of the 480 volt lines and you feel the vibration of the press through of the concretes, and you can feel the ghosts that are still in the things that supposed to be happening, the things that should be happening, the initiatives that have died, the workers who got the raw end of the deal. This is the old school compliance territory. I always love hearing about the old timers, the people that were in the industry before, and they never missed a chance to do so. You can't help but compare yourself against those pioneers from the 70s and the 80s who fought through the baseline for survival. The guys who fought against asbestos, who fought about lockout, tagout before it was law, long before the corporate MBAs took over and, sanitized the industry. Sometimes I dream what it would be, what those old timers would say about the absolute bureaucratic state of the profession today. But the dreams are just stories that we tell ourselves to cope. The important stuff happens when you're awake. And I am wide awake this morning. It is great to be alive here and to talk about what is going on. Let's broadcast the truth, or what? Let's address the elephant in the room. Let's address those VPs of operation that are, there but not there today. 2 weeks ago, shockingly enough, with the help of corporate yes men and, some of those people in the HR middle management, we put through that metaphor ringside announce table. I was thrown through a complete under the bus for the massive quarter 3 executive review. And if you stood up in front of the board and pointed out the spike lagging indicators, and you blamed me and the departments that had never had anything in mind in the first place, we started to slash the preventative maintenance budget by 40%. When I say started taking a look around at all the craziness that was going on, this is the dream, I guess. This is the dream of the stuff that I look at. And then when I look around and I struttle out of the boardroom, very slowly, I might add, with the quarter zip Pagonia fleece and a smug little smile. Like, some people want to act when they leave these boardrooms like they're the king of the world, washing their hands of their own operational failures. And I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to get the executive safety committee meeting to get my revenge. Because sometimes that's how we feel in these corporate structures. So what happens sometimes is we show up into these boardrooms by ourselves. No PowerPoint presentation, no fancy color-coded pie charts designed to make the executives feel warm and fuzzy. We sometimes show up with the raw, unfiltered truth, the rated R field data with 2 fists. Sometimes we're brought in to ignore. We're brought in and we're told to ignore the maintenance logs, or maybe we even bring it up. Sometimes you have to bring in the bypass of the workers' orders, and then you have to get the receipts. So here's the thing. If you take $1 million off the shelf of zero harm behavioral-based safety programs and metaphorically power bombed, it through the boardroom table, the VP of operations would say, "Hey, he hates me." And I say, good, because I think that that's important. Because if the C-suite hates me or hates you or hates us, that tells me that I am exactly where I need to be. Fraud checking goofs like that can hate me as much as they want. They can hate us as much as they want, because I will not trade authenticity for people's approval. I never have and I never will. And I won't trade the truth for a shiny corporate label pin. Being hated by losers is the absolute price I pay for not being one of them. And people out there in VP land with places that I work have said that they've hated the safety department. They've hated people that are involved in safety. And I can understand that. I know exactly why. Because let me take a moment to explain to everybody tuning in today why they hate me and why sometimes I hate some of the shit that happens inside of these boardrooms. Because we've had to climb the ladder to make it an absolute to the pinnacle of the industry, to talk about these things. And the difference is my tools and the things that I have done inside of the industry here are mostly self-made. But some of the other places, they were forged out there on a shop floor. They were sharpened to a deadly point through the years of self-belief. Sometimes I had to go through some shit that I just didn't think that it was worth going through. And grinding hard work, physical verification, and that's perfectly honest. Sometimes pure, unadulterated spite, but that's a sacrifice. Sometimes when you have to take a look at some of these corporate C-suites, your tools are store-bought. They weren't handed to you. They were programs that were purchased off a shelf, and they delivered to some overpriced, out-of-touch consulting firm, and they were exactly like you. They were bullshit. They were plastic. Back in the day, I was too young and too stupid to really understand that, but now I have too rich in experience, too old, and I have seen too much to give a damn. I understand why the board loves sending your suit-wearing ass to podiums and talking about the bullshit that they buy off of a shelf. It's because they feel that that shelf purchase shit is safe. It's boring. It can be manufactured, reproduced, and all that kind of stuff. Me? The stuff that we like to talk about here and do inside of the industry is dangerous because you never know what I'm going to find, what we're going to find, and what we're going to document, or even what the hell, we might say next. And I like that. I've liked that for a long time. So let me just go ahead and say this. Why is it that I can walk half a dozen of kinetic high-risk physical sites, talk to the workers, and actually find hazards and never miss a day? But sometimes some of the people in the C-suite, executive off-sites, strategy alignment as a crutch, and never show up to the actual physical location where the work is being done. Why can't they show up there? And somehow, I'm supposed to be a bad guy because I tell the board the news that they refuse to go onto the floor and go take a look at. And you know that I'm right as I'm talking about this. And when they do not bother to show up to the working floor, to seeing what's going on, when they show up late, when they gleefully leave early and they puff up their chest around the corporate office like they've done some kind of operational savior. So let me put it to you this way. I have always looked at the industry that nepotism is not something that I love. So my daddy wasn't an executive who gave me a favored job because I sucked at real operations. No, I had to pay my dues. I had to earn and deserved everything that I busted my ass for. And I have to tell you, sometimes you are just a silver spoon nepo baby who ate the corporate dog food from one weird legacy CEO for a decade and just got the title. And that weird old CEO for years treated, most people like shit, treated me like a dog. And, most of the times people expected me just to pencil whip the audits and play the game while they sped up the production line. But you know me. I had that fuck you knowledge. And I have my dignity, so I will tell you exactly how I feel about a lot of stuff in life. So most of the times, if I don't like something, I will take a look at it, and then I left that toxic matrix. And I did that with some big company. And that's why most people in some industries hate me, because you can't control me like you can control the yes men and the clipboard warriors, and they can't control me. And are we having fun? Would be the question. And let me explain why I'm telling you this today. Because I am tired of looking at an industry that sometimes seems to be so far ahead, but then at the same time so far behind. So be careful what you wish for. When people ask for the unvarnished truth and to show understanding what it means, this is what I'll let you know. This is what the corporate pipe bomb actually sounds like. You can't brag about zero harm milestone all you want, but if me or anybody else in the real world were afforded as many opportunities as some of the people have had inside of the industry, and our safety program sucks so spectacularly bad for the first 8 rollouts, we'd be fired and blackballed from the industry. That's just kind of how that goes. Duh. But you can't blackball me. They can't blackball us. Listen up. I will gleefully stand on a bridge and blow it up, bitch, because I know how to swim. And that's the problem. That is the problem sometimes with the truth. To the outside HR consultants and the data entry metric pushers, you buggy whipped no-brain Excel jockeys. You think that you can come into this business, the business of physical kinetic human safety, and run your mouth about engagement metrics while writing checks that your narrow ass can't cash. Do me a favor. Call me up a firm that was foolish enough to shoehorn you into this industry and tell them to lower their consulting fees. Because I will be damned if I'm going to have somebody who sits in the ergonomic chair and plays with pie charts for a living to come into this business and lecture a guy working 14-hour turnarounds about situational awareness. You have no fucking idea what it takes to keep human beings from getting crushed. And you've got a receipt coming your way. That's how it works. So it be at Houston, it be at Miami, it be at Orlando, it be at Dallas, Texas, it be at Portland, Oregon. Everywhere else across this multiverse, lower your consulting fees. Fire the plastic leadership that's inside of those stupid super C-suites. And the real practitioners should go to work, because the real reason that things are happening is because we like to buy this corporate bullshit. So, this is the Rated R Safety Show. Keep your head on a swivel if you have to. Don't let those plastic tools convince you that the Matrix is real, because that is where people get all hung up and really thrown off about what the hell is going on inside of the world. I love when this thing locks up for no reason whatsoever. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D., because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Yeah, feels good to be me. Yeah, feels good to be.
Okay, it's good to be me. Yeah, this is the Rated R Safety Show. Also, hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. Okay, so take a listen to this. This right here is Anna Graceman with Good to Be Me. Go ahead and give this a little streamer-eamer action if you don't mind. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So there you go. Okay, we would like to thank Anna Graceman for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's continue moving and grooving as we are already behind. Let's go ahead and talk about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Right Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, all kinds of information related to you for addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Right Love on Her Arms. Listen, go to the website, go all the way to the far right-hand side once you get there, and click on the section that says Find Help. I will tell you, you might look at it and go, this information's not for me, but it could be for somebody that you know or someone who might need help. You might not need it today, but you could need it in the near future. That's TWLOHA.com. To Right Love on Her Arms. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. Reality shift taking place on July the 13th of 2026 in Orlando, Florida. Would love to see you there. Seriously, would love to see you there. It is taking place there because we're doing something slightly different than we've ever done before. We're actually renting out a movie theater and doing our event there. We're going to be hanging out with Nick Weatherly talking about behavior-based safety, Todd Conklin talking about human and organizational performance, and I will be talking about Signal Trilogy. It's happening on Monday, July the 13th. Why a Monday? Well, we want to make sure that you have time to hang out in Orlando if you'd like to do that during the summer. And then we get to our little event on that Monday doing all of the fun stuff that we get to do. So there you go. Some things to think about. So with that being said, all you have to do is scan the little QR code that's on the screen, or if not, you can go to safetyfm.io. That's safetyfm.io. Okay, with that being said, I do have some John Small waiting in the wing. He's wanting to tell you about what's going on with the Motivation Minute, so let's do that right now.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Abby. Brene Brown said, "Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen." I love this. When you think of courage, who do you think of? Is there somebody in your life that just embodies courage in every way? In history, we can see stories of people who were courageous. Think of little David going up against Goliath. That took courage. Think of the founding fathers of the United States. There were 56 men who signed their name on a document that was a breakup letter to the King of England. That was treason. Many of them lost everything, including their lives. That took courage. I think about the first responders I know. I have several friends who are firefighters and police officers. They run into a fire or towards an accident when others run away. They do this completely filled with courage. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
In Israel, military leaders report a new wave of airstrikes that hit a major Iranian petrochemical complex, striking a facility they say supplies about half the country's petrochemical output.
The attack focused on the South Pars gas processing plant at Asaluyeh,
a key hub on the Persian Gulf that Iran has long relied on as a pillar of its energy exports. Israeli officials describe the strikes as a major blow to Iran's economy, while Iranian state media say the site is under control but damage is significant. Chris Anderson reporting.
At the Kennedy Space Center, NASA's Artemis II astronauts are preparing for a planned lunar flyby that will push them farther from Earth than any human crew has traveled since the Apollo program.
The Orion capsule is on a test flight loop around the moon, designed to pave the way to future crewed landings under the Artemis program. During the flyby, the crew will briefly pass behind the moon, losing signal with mission control for roughly 40 minutes. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Cuban authorities say the entire island lost power in a sudden blackout that left millions without electricity during a period of worsening energy and economic crisis.
The state's Ministry of Energy and Mines reported a complete disconnection of the national grid, with officials trying to trace the exact technical or systemic failure behind the collapse. Hospitals have switched to backup generators, but residents in cities and countryside alike are struggling with heat, water shortages, and limited communications. Benjamin Wright reporting.
In southern Louisiana, emergency crews are still treating victims after a drunk driver plowed into a holiday parade crowd, injuring at least 15 people, some in serious condition.
The crash happened on a rural road in New Iberia during a Lao New Year festival where families had gathered to watch the colourful procession. The 57-year-old driver later showed a blood alcohol level well above the legal limit and now faces multiple charges, including negligent injury and driving while impaired. Gary Beck reporting.
In Florida, federal officials confirm they will soon release body camera footage of golf legend Tiger Woods as he is arrested and processed for a suspected DUI after a rollover crash.
The newly obtained video shows Woods in the back of a patrol car, appearing dazed and disoriented in the hours after his SUV flipped over along a county road. Deputies recorded him failing a sobriety test and then placed him under arrest, listing possible impairment from an unknown substance. Lawrence Keller reporting.
In Louisiana, immigration agents startled a military family when they detained the new wife of an Army sergeant on a military base just days after their wedding.
The woman, a Honduran-born immigrant who came to the United States as a toddler, was apprehended at Fort Polk as her husband prepares for deployment overseas. The case has ignited fresh debate about immigration enforcement at military installations and how policies can affect families of service members. Kyle Norris reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Okay, so let's get it moving and grooving real quick. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this day. Back in 1891, Nebraska introduces the 8-hour workday. Yes, that happened in 1891. In 1948, World Health Organization established by the UN. What else do we have going on? Let's see. Okay. In 1980, Jimmy Carter breaks relations with Iran during a hostage crisis. And in 1991, George Washington Bridge raises the price from $3 to $4. So the question becomes, what is the price now in regards to that bridge? Because that's going to be the next thing, of course. Okay, let's talk about some birthdays going on today. Francis Ford Coppola turns 87. John Oates turns 77. Tom Dorset turned 72. Jackie Chan, 72. Russell Crowe, 62. And Bill Bellamy, he turned 61 today, so there you go. Okay, let's talk about some things you ought to know. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is for $100 million. Here's the latest winning Powerball numbers. 7, 24, 37, 42, 57. And Powerball is 5, and Power Play was 2. A top Federal Reserve policy maker signaled yesterday that the interest rates could still go up if inflation refuses to fall back to the Fed's 2% target. A notable shift as markets have been expecting cuts. Beth Hackman, the new president of the Cleveland Fed, told the AP that her baseline view is hold the rates steady for now, but she's open to moving either direction depending on the data. She said the rate cuts would only make sense if the labor market weakened significantly with persistent inflation that could force the Fed to raise the rates again. Her comments add to the growing chorus of Fed officials pushing back on expectations to near-term rate cuts, signaling that the central bank isn't convinced that inflation is fully under control. So there you go. With very little time left, President Trump's ultimatum expires. The United States and Iran remain nowhere close to diplomatic breakthrough at the end of the war. At the White House news conference yesterday, Trump repeated his warning that Iran must agree to the deal, including reopening the strait, by 8 p.m. Eastern, or face massive U.S. strikes. Trump said that no agreement is reached, that Iran will be left with no bridges, no power plants, vowing to bomb the country back to the Stone Ages. So there you go. And let me give you one more. Ron DeSantis signed a measure into law yesterday to give him, along with other Florida leaders, the ability to label groups as domestic or foreign terrorist organizations and expel the state university students that support them. So there you go. What else do we got going on? That's going to sum up our time together, that's for sure. At the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If not, hang out here with Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom, winning means you're willing to go longer, work harder, and give more than anyone else. If I can give you some advice for today, hang a cheap shoe organizer on the back of your front seat. Fill it with crayons, snacks, wipes, and car-only toy rotation. It will change things for you. No doubt about it. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Yeah, it feels good to be me. Yeah, it feels good to be me. Get free, do what you do, run and be what you please.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.